Welcome to the deep dive. We are diving headfirst today into material concerning one of America's most historically significant and, well, famously secretive student societies, Yale Skull and Bones, S&B for short.
Right, and this deep dive is a bit different because we're really zoning in on one specific source. It's a detailed study trying to decode what it alleges is hidden, occult symbolism within S&B.
Yeah, exactly. The source material claims this isn't just about elite networking clubs.
No, not at all. It's arguing there's a Luciferian ideology kind of baked into the society's core identity.
So our mission today is really to pull out the most, let's say, striking claims from this analysis. Specifically, it looks at an S&B class picture from 1947.
And that photo notably includes a young George H. Bush.
That's the one. The source presents it as like a visual manifesto of secret intentions, hidden right there in plain sight. We're just breaking down what they argue.
Yeah, and it's important for you, the listener, to grasp the immediate conflict the author sets up. You've got the official story, the sort of sanitized version, right?
Yeah.
Which says, S&D, founded 1832, it's just an exclusive senior class thing, powerful alumni, great connections, basically a networking powerhouse.
But this source material, it just throws that out entirely.
Completely. Replaces it with a full-blown conspiratorial framework.
And the core claim is that the 1947 photo isn't just a group shot.
No. They argue it's a carefully staged, almost ritualistic pose. It supposedly invokes the Masonic Square and Compass, but heavily encrypted with Baphomet symbols and other satanic stuff.
Wow. Okay, so if the photo is the outward sign, let's maybe back up first. What about the internal purpose? What does the source claim the society actually does?
Well, the source argues these groups exist for reasons way beyond, fancy dinners and raising alumni funds.
They say college societies like S&B are like a pipeline.
Exactly. A pipeline for funneling potential leaders into bigger, established global organizations after graduation. And the source points directly at the Masons.
Right, and explicitly calls them Luciferian in doctrine.
Yeah, and to back that huge claim, the study brings up the 19th century Mason Grandmaster Albert Pike.
Albert Pike, okay.
They use his writings to argue that within those higher Masonic degrees, Lucifer is actually seen as the ultimate source of light and truth. So S&B becomes like a prep school for this occult agenda.
So wait, is the argument then that the whole recruitment thing has a darker practical side too? Beyond just ideology. You mentioned a blackmail theory.
Yeah, it's pretty unsettling stuff. The study suggests that the secret initiation rituals aren't just for bonding.
Okay.
They're designed, supposedly, to gather really private, personal information about the initiates.
And then what? Hold on to it.
Weaponize it, according to the theory. Use it for blackmail down the line. Once those members get into positions of power politics, finance, education, whatever, it's like an insurance policy for the organization.
Quite a claim.
Right.
Because it totally reframes the power structure, doesn't it?
It does.
The implication then is that getting appointed to key roles isn't about merit or skill.
No. It's supposedly based on compliance, making sure the society's interests are always protected. The source basically says members are selling their soul for temporal power.
Temporal power as the means.
Yeah.
So what's the end game, according to this source? The great work.
That's what they call it, the alleged ultimate agenda. The source claims the end goal is to serve and push forward the agenda of Lucifer.
With the ultimate aim being.
To eventually enthrone Lucifer as the rightful god of Earth. The study is very explicit. It claims these societies actively hate and mock Christianity because their focus is on dethroning Christ.
Okay, that's the alleged why. Let's get into the symbols and language they supposedly use, the name itself, Skull and Bones. Where does the source go with that?
They interpret the name as a direct mockery of the crucifixion.
How so?
The skull, they claim, clearly points to Golgotha, the place of the skull, and the bones, supposedly a veiled symbol for the shape of the cross itself.
Right, okay. And then there's the number, the code, 322. Now, we need to unpack this carefully because the source makes a specific jump here.
Yeah, 332. Historians usually link it to the year a founder died. Or maybe, as the source insists, the spring equinox, March 22nd. But the source connects it to
666, the mark of the beast. How do they possibly get from 322 to 666?
Okay, so they use this method. It involves inversion and multiplication. The source argues you symbolically flip and manipulate 322 to get there.
Oh, shows the math they use.
Right. So you take the digits. For the first digit, 3, they multiply it by its, let's say, complement 2. That gives you 6.
Okay, 3 times 2 is 6.
Then the second digit, 2, you multiply it by 3. That gives you 6 again.
2 times 3 is 6.
Got it. And the last digit, 2, you multiply it by 3 again, yielding 6.
2 times 3 is 6.
Yeah.
So 3 by 2, 6. 2 by 3, 6. 2 by 3, so 6. That's how they derive 666 from 322.
Exactly. And the source then rhetorically asks, coincidence? So in their view, this seemingly innocent number becomes a major satanic signifier.
And this isn't new. According to them, they trace this lineage back.
Oh yeah, way back. They connect S&B's origins to what they call the old Bavarian cult of death and destruction in Europe, claiming it was steeped in pagan occultism, Jewish mysticism, tied up with European monarchs, ultimately feeding people into global control positions, finance, military, media.
And the most extreme claim in this part, it's about the members themselves, right?
Yes. The source basically suggests that every member, no matter how important they seem, is just a useful idiot.
Just a tool.
A tool being used to advance a Luciferian agenda that, according to this source, aims for the eventual enslavement and mass extermination of humanity.
Why? Why humanity?
Because humanity is allegedly seen as a direct threat to the deity this society supposedly serves.
Okay. So with that pretty intense context set up, let's finally look at the photo itself. The 1947 class picture, the source spends a lot of time on this, calling out horned god motifs.
Right, the centerpiece of their argument.
So describe the layout first. What do we see in the picture?
You see 15 bonesmen. They're arranged in 3 distinct groups, 5 standing on the right, 5 standing on the left.
Okay.
And then 5 men right in the center, positioned directly in front of a big grandfather clock.
And the analysis zooms in on that central group of 5.
Immediately. The source argues that if you look at the legs of 2 of the seated men in that group, the angle their legs make forms a clear 5-pointed star, a pentagram.
A pentagram. And they link that too.
They claim it's the Masonic star representing the blazing star Sirius, which in occult traditions is often equated with the shining one, Lucifer, or Satan.
And there's the literal skull too, isn't there?
Yes. The man crouched down in front, his hands are on a table, and right there is a human skull.
Which the source believes is Geronimo's skull.
They presume it is, yeah. The Apache warrior skull, supposedly stolen years before by bonesmen.
But the main focus, the real symbolic center, is the grandfather clock in the background.
Absolutely. That clock dominates. The source argues at the very top of the clock, its crown looks like distinct horns.
Horns.
Yes, and they interpret this as a deliberate tribute to the horned god Pan, or more specifically, Baphomet.
Baphomet, the goat-headed figure.
That's the one. The famous hermaphroditic figure, sometimes called the Goat of Mendes, popularized visually by the 19th century occultist Eliphas Levi.
Okay, let me clarify this for the listener because it's a key point.
Yeah.
Is the source saying the clock is Baphomet, or it's just a subtle architectural nod?
They argue it's an intentional but veiled tribute. The logic goes, since the organization supposedly sees Lucifer as the source of light, the clock, which reflects light, represents the light bearer, Lucifer, the shining one.
And the clock face itself.
The round, light-reflecting face, that's interpreted as the all-seeing eye of Lucifer, or maybe the eye of Horus.
Right, and the source lists attributes for Baphomet, hermaphrodite, union of opposites, as above, so below, and also Kronos.
Yes, Kronos or Saturn, the Greek god of time. This is really important to their logic.
Why Kronos time?
Well, if the clock is Kronos time and the horned god represents it, think about the political implication.
Okay.
The source points to the bonesmen standing on the right and the left of the central clock figure.
The 5 on each side.
Right. They're supposedly meant to represent the 2 sides of the U.S. political spectrum, Republican, Democrat, left, right.
To show what?
To show that the Luciferian agenda, represented by the central figure, will march forward, no matter which political party seems to be in charge. The control is above that level.
That flows right into the final big geometric claim, tying it all to global control. Let's go back to the clock as Father Time.
Right. So the clock isn't just Kronos, the timekeeper. It's also interpreted as the Grim Reaper, the Lord of Death.
Which the source equates with.
Satan or Lucifer, reinforcing this idea that the society is ultimately controlled by the god of time and death.
And the final geometric shape they pull out of this, it uses the clock as the starting point.
Yeah, the anchor. The author argues that if you trace imaginary lines, ley lines, from the clock's horns down towards that pentagram shape formed by the seated men, the whole arrangement forms a distinct symbolic pyramid design.
A pyramid. And this is where they make the connection.
This is the big finale for the source. They claim this pyramid isn't just random geometry, it's an intentional copy of the official reverse seal of the USA.
The pyramid with the eye on the back of the dollar bill.
Exactly. the famous truncated pyramid with the all-seeing eye floating above it.
That's a massive leap. How do they justify connecting the photo's composition to the Great Seal?
The argument is basically that this symbolic structure in the photo, the pyramid overseeing the political left and right, is visual proof.
Proof of what?
Proof, according to the source, that these kinds of secret entities, tracing their roots back to Nimrod, who they say Masons call the first Mason, that they are the ones truly running the United States, operating above Congress, above any elected officials.
So the source sees the visible government as just a front.
Pretty much. A facade designed to advance this ancient Luciferian project finishing the Tower of Babel, which they frame as the ultimate act of rebellion against Christ Jesus.
Wow. Okay. So the entire existence of S&B, in this view, is just one piece of a huge, ancient, anti-Christian theological war.
That's the framework the source presents, absolutely.
Okay, let's try to recap this deep dive for you, the listener. We've aimed to impartially lay out the specific claims from this, frankly, intense study.
Yeah, we covered the number code, 322, and how the source links it to 666. We looked at the Baphomet and horned god symbols they claim are hidden in that 1947 photo.
And critically, how the source connects all of that to the core symbols of American political power, like the Great Seal.
And look, understanding this kind of analysis, even if you personally find the claims completely outlandish, it's actually valuable.
How so?
It helps you understand how certain groups perceive and interpret the actions and symbols of global elites and political structures. This source gives you a window into a very specific, highly symbolic way of viewing power.
Indeed. And given that the source material explicitly claims these individuals are selling their soul for temporal power to push an agenda aimed at humanity's destruction or enslavement.
Because humanity is seen as a threat to Lucifer.
The final provocative thought we want to leave you with, directly from the implications of the source material, is this.
If the core goal, according to this study, is the mass destruction or enslavement of the average person, what specific economic policies or maybe governmental actions that we see happening today could potentially be interpreted through the lens of this specific source as actively working against the welfare of the common citizen?
That's the question the source itself kind of leaves hanging.
Something to think about. And until next time.